Okay, so now that you know all how Icarus came to burn his wings on the sun, after he did all that, he was out there in jail with his daddy because they had built that labyrinth to house Minotaur, and Minotaur was the offspring of the bull and Minos' wife, because Poseidon made her fall in love with the bull after he sent that bull to Minos as an approval sign of his struggle with the throne, and Minos was supposed to sacrifice it, and he didn't. Uh, After all that, and he got out there in jail because, his daddy tried to give that string to the king's daughter, to Minos' daughter, who was going to give it to her little boyfriend, fellow, Theseus, to help him go in there and fight that Minotaur, kill him so they didn't have to keep on sacrificing the youth and the maidens every 9 years or every 1 year, according to which story you read. So after he'd done that, he got up there, he got flying, him and his daddy constructed these wings. And they're just going to fly out of captivity. Well, the poor little fellow Icarus, he got so excited about flying, he got up too close to the sun and burned his wings. So now you have Icarus that's become not just a side story in all this hilarious nonsense, but he's become a bit of a story, a hero, a figure himself. I wouldn't say hero, but a figure himself. Now Icarus has been passed on down through the generations as a sign, as a symbol of people that just get out of control. They forget what they're doing. They're flying high. They've had this great fortuitous success and rise to power, maybe it might be in certain instances, and they just get too high. They forget about what's going on around them. They forget about being cautious. They forget about doing the things that got them to where they are. They get too close to the sun. They burn their wings, and they fall. And oh, how mighty is the fall! They fall into the sea, and they don't get a sea named the Icarian Sea after them, but they just get in the newspaper. And I've been a little bit funny going through all of this, and if you've watched all of this, you're amazing. But I say that to bring up Icarus, and I saw a book with the Icarus theory on it or something like that, to make my point, and that is, first of all, the market checks greed. You can't force things upon people in a free market. Man would love you to buy all of his stuff at infinite price, over and over and over and over and over again. But you'll never be forced to do that in the market. You'll only be forced to do that by governments and by laws and by regulations. So the market checks greed. The market doesn't eliminate greed, it checks greed. And government, ladies and gentlemen, doesn't eliminate greed either, but it doesn't check greed. Matter of fact, it props up greed. It stabilizes greed. It assures greed. And I'm going to eat a chip. It empowers greed. The government does. So greed is checked in the market. But we always have to do with this 2%. We always have to deal in the 2%. If for some reason, beyond those controls, beyond those natural market controls on greed, where people are free, people don't have to buy anything, there are other producers free to come in, and the fact that if you overprice, people won't buy, beyond those built-in market checks to greed, you have this Icarus theory, where greed itself is destructive. People may realize a profit for a while. People may be flying high, but they always get too greedy. They always see high profits, and this is either one company or the market in general. One profit is realizing high profits, one company is realizing high profits, and they go bonanza. They offer everything and some. They throw the kitchen sink out on the market. And they either do it in low quality or they do it in such high volume that they destroy their own market. And you see these companies that have this precipitous rise. Boom! And then, wow, they just crash. Just down. They just go down. Or you see one area that's highly profitable and you see tons of other companies flying into the market wanting to get their share of the profits. And what do? They push the whole market up towards the sun, and it's burned, and it falls back down. And what that means is cheap prices. When a market crashes, you have cheap prices. And cheap prices, just in case we need to refresh anybody's mind, are good. So all these people, it's just this old Marx mentality. Oh, I'm a victim. The greedy corporate, scoundrels have taken advantage of me again. You can't be taken advantage of in the market. You cannot be. Because there's checks on greed built into the market. But even beyond that, greed is a check unto itself. Greed is destructive unto itself. Because it naturally creates destruction. It naturally creates you to lose your way, to lose your mind, to not think clearly, and to do things that will be self-destructive. Just as it is in personal living, it's the same way for companies. The market controls greed, and greed controls itself. Not governments. Governments are not what saves you from that. Laws and regulations. The SEC is not what will save you from that. All these different, the FHA, none of that saves you from greed. Greed is destructive to itself. That's the Icarus theory.